Hey, this is Ben. I'm going to cover another edition of React's Hacks. And today's activity is to show you how to control CSS variables using JavaScript inside of a React component. And what's going to happen is I have these two input tags up here, and they're going to control the value of those CSS variables, and these blogs are going to use those values. So when I change the inputs here, those blogs are going to reference a different CSS value. And I could actually update their styling in real time, which I think is pretty cool. So let's take a quick look at the code. This is my portfolio, which is built with Gatsby. So I created a component, and that component needs to be used in my home page. That's all that's going on here on index. And then the CSS file is going to contain the variables that I'm going to then pass to those blogs. They're going to end up using the values. And I ended up using this calc function because I wanted to make sure that those values get the appropriate suffix. So this rotate is going to need a value with degrees, and this translate is going to need a value with a percentage. So for the variable bar or the vars bars component, the first thing I want to do is store the values which I'll pass to my CSS file in state. And I want to point out how I'm using the same name as those CSS variables, which is going to come in handy in two places. The first place is inside of these input tags, where I've given the name of them, the name of the CSS variable that I will eventually update. I'm also binding the value of the input tag to state, and then anytime those values change, I'm going to invoke this handle change function. Handle change is going to do two things. First, it's going to set state, and I'm going to use the spread operator so I can hold on to the values I don't want to change. And then I'm going to use eTargetName, which will have the name of the CSS variable, and then its value to change the value that I do want to change. The second thing I'm going to do is access the document's CSS sheet and then set the property using, again, the name from that input tag, which is the same name as the CSS variable, and then pass to it the value which I'm holding in state. That takes you through today's activity. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you tomorrow.